Lava Girivaradari Jaya Gopi Janavalava Girivaradari Yashodanandana Braja Janaranjana Yashodanandana Braja Janaranjana Yamunatira Vanachari Yamuna Tera Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Jayam Vishnupad Paramahamsa Parivrajagacharya Ashrotara Shatashi Srimad A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada Ki Jai Jayam Vishnupad Paramahamsa Parivrajagacharya Ashrotara Shatashi Srimad Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Maharaj Prabhupada Ki Jai Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda Ki Jai Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur Ki Jai Brahmsikaho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasari Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai Shri Shri Radha Krishna Gopa Gopinath Shamakunda Radha Kunda Giri Govardhan Ki Jai Vrindavan Dham Ki Jai Navadip Dham Ki Jai Mathura Dham Ki Jai Jagannath Puri Dham Ki Jai Bhakti Devi Ki Jai Tulasi Devi Ki Jai Yamunamayi Ki Jai Gangamayi Ki Jai Samaveta Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to Sri Guru and Gauranga. Namo Vishnu Krishna Vishnu Bhakti Vedanta Swami Nityananda Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauranga Vicharini Nirvisheshashnavari Pashtatadarshitarini Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Srimad Bhagavatam, second canto, chapter number 1, entitled The First Step in God Realization. Text number 21. From the word for word, Yasyam Sandharyamanayam Yoginaha Bhakti Lakshanaha Ashu Sampadyate Sampadyate Yogaha Ashrayam Bhadram Ikshataha Yasyam Sandharyamanayam Yogino Bhakti Lakshanaha Ashu sambhadyate yoga Ashrayam bhadramikshataha Yasyam sandharyamanayam Yogino bhakti lakshanaha Ashu sambhadyate yoga Ashrayam bhadramikshataha Yasyang sandharyamanayam Yogino bhakti lakshanaha Ashu sambhadyate yoga Ashrayam bhadramikshataha
Yasyam sandaryamanayam
Manaya
Yogino bhakti lakshanaha
Yogino bhakti lakshanaha
Ashu sampadhyate yoga
Ashu sambhadyate yoga
Ashrayam bhadramikshataha
Ashrayam bhadramikshataha
Yasyang sandharyamanayang
Yasyam sandharyamanayam
Yogino bhakti lakshanaha
Yogino bhakti lakshanaha
Ashu sampadhyate yoga
Ashu sambhadyate yoga
Ashrayang bhadramikshataha
Ashrayam bhadramikshataha
Yasyam sandharyamanayam
Yasyam sandharyamanayam
Yogino bhakti lakshanaha
Yogino bhakti lakshanaha
Ashu sambhadyate yoga
Ashu sambhadyate yoga
Ashrayam bhadramikshataha
Ashrayam bhadramikshataha
Yasyam sandharyamanayam
Yasyam sandharyamanayam
Yogino bhakti lakshanaha
Yogino bhakti lakshanaha
Ashu sampadhyate yoga
Ashu sambhadyate yoga
Ashrayam bhadramikshataha
Ashrayam bhadramikshataha
Yasyam sandharyamanayam
Yasyam sandharyamanayam
Yogino bhakti lakshanaha
Yogino bhakti lakshanaha
Ashu sampadhyate yoga
Ashu sambhadyate yoga
Ashrayam bhadramikshataha
Ashrayam bhadramikshataha. Devotees online, would you like to chant? Yasyam, by such systematic remembrance, Sandharyamanayam, and thus being fixed in the habit of Yoginaha, the mystics, Bhakti Lakshanaha, being practiced to the devotional system, Ashu, very soon, Sampadhyate, attains success, Yogaha, connection by devotional service, Ashrayam, under the shelter of Bhadram, the all-good, Ikshataha, by which seeing that. Okay. Translation. O King, by this system of remembrance and by being fixed in the habit of seeing the all-good personal conception of the Lord, one can very soon attain devotional service to the Lord under his direct shelter. Purport. Success of mystic performances is achieved only by the help of the devotional attitude. Pantheism, or the system of feeling the presence of the Almighty everywhere, is a sort of training of the mind to become accustomed to the devotional conception. And it is this devotional attitude of the mystic that makes possible the successful termination of such mystic attempts. One is not, however, elevated to such a successful status without the tinge of mixture in devotional service. The devotional atmosphere created by pantheistic vision develops into devotional service in later days, and that is the only benefit for the impersonalist. It is confirmed in the Bhagavad Gita 12.5 that the impersonal way of self-realization is more troublesome because it reaches the goal in an indirect way. Although the impersonalist also becomes obsessed with the personal feature of the Lord after a long time. So, we need this devotional attitude. The devotional attitude is the main thing which gives advancement. Prabhupada writes in the preface to the Nectar of Instruction that the attitude, advancement in Krishna consciousness depends on the attitude of the follower. So, attitude is a word which more or less describes kind of the status or the position, the situation of the heart, that we are more or less have a what's the word that I'm looking for? Disposition towards someone or something. You know, like a disposition. My disposition. Again, is another way to say attitude. So, our attitude, when it attains a devotional quality towards the Lord, then our attempts in mysticism, yoga, knowledge, work, philosophy, these things attain success. And without the devotional attitude, we're simply baffled. We're baffled. We may be able to perform great austerities. We may be able to perform wonderful feats of nature by building great structures, and we may be able to do very nice oration. We may be able to compose very nice poetry and philosophy. But if we don't have a devotional attitude towards the Supreme Personality of Godhead, which Prabhupada very much kind of brings out of this translation, then all those attempts are baffled. Moga means to baffle. Moga means to baffle. So there's a cool verse in Bhagavad Gita which has that word many times. That persons who are envious of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, their attempts, their fruitive work is baffled. Their process of knowledge is baffled. So Prabhupada is mentioning here in this purport that this pantheism, or the system of feeling the presence of the Almighty everywhere, is a sort of training of the mind to become accustomed to the devotional conception. And it is this devotional attitude of the mystic that makes possible the successful termination of such mystic attempts. Termination, this word indicates some goal, some end, some destination, some accomplishment, right? So everybody has some motivations for their actions and their work, what they do, what they think, why they're doing what they're doing. And the mystic also has some goal. And when that goal becomes to please the Lord, success is attained. That is the end of that mystic process, is to please the Lord. And what's interesting is that for us to develop that attitude, we have to hear. So in this text, when we remember, and by this system of remembrance, what was that system? We heard in the last text that we have to relate with Lord Vishnu. Then in the previous text before that, we should meditate on his form, right? The mind becomes reconciled in him only. Then we had before that, we're gradually, progressively spiritualizing the mind, withdrawing it from sense activities. And by intelligence, the senses will be controlled. We're sitting nicely, regulating the breathing process. We're not forgetting the transcendental seed, the transcendental letters A-U-M. Of course, in this age, as we've been mentioning, this is more or less this particular mantra isn't recommended for this age, but it's found within the Hare Krishna mantra. We should leave home and practice self-control in a sacred place, and we should bathe regularly and sit down in a duly sanctified place, which is lonely. And we shouldn't be afraid of death, right? So these things are there, which are this process. So by this process, we become fixed in the habit of seeing the all-good personal conception of the Lord. So I was talking to my friend yesterday, and he said, God is good. I said, yeah, God is good. God is great. That's a fact. But how great is God? And he said, you can't say that. It's like you're doubting. No, I say, I care about how great he is, so I want to know. I want to talk about it. What's wrong with that? Or is it sacrilegious that I want to know how great he is? No, he's just great. Nothing else, nothing more. We don't speak anymore. God is great. That's it. No. How great is he? Why is he great? Let's talk about it. I want to know. Who is that person? That we don't even know he's a person. But the Vedic scriptures very clearly say he's a person. He's got limbs. He's got activities. He's got a name. He's got friends. He's got family. He has associates. He has holy places and where he hangs out. He's got a spiritual world. He's got energies. What about all that conversation? So that conversation the pantheist misses out on. And he says, I see God everywhere. God is everywhere. And we say, yes, he is. But there's more to that. Who is he? Who is that God who is everywhere? One thing that's interesting is when we start seeing him everywhere, then we should appreciate him. When we see somebody's greatness, then we start to appreciate them naturally because we have a tendency to appreciate. We're little appreciators. If you see a small puppy, then you say, oh my gosh, this is the most amazing thing. What is that? It's totally just spontaneous. Look, amazing meal. Oh, wow. Right? Car. You know? Beautiful personality. We have this tendency to appreciate when we hear about God, who's the source, the creator, the father of everything, the supreme artist of everything that exists in this world. Then what happens is we say, this person is behind everything. That's where the devotional attitude begins. Now we've seen that Lord who's in every atom, everywhere I look, that person, I want to serve him. And when we serve him, then we get knowledge, causeless knowledge and detachment. And it's just nourishing again and again. We get causeless knowledge from service, then we hear more about him, and then we want to serve him more. And like that, we just learn more about his beautiful personality. He's a person. How amazing are persons? Persons are not like in a box. Persons have free will. Persons have self-expression. Persons are individuals. You can't put somebody in a box because he's a person. He's not like a microphone. One function, one design. No. At every moment, he's making free will decisions on his own accord, according to his own desires and thoughts. God is like that. It's ever fresh because he's a person. He does things in real time. He acts. So whatever he does, that's new, that's fresh, that's infinite, that's eternal. And because I've developed this devotional attitude, then I become under his shelter. Daivim prakritim ashrit, I think it's ashritaha, something like that. That when we become the great souls who are under the protection of the divine nature, they've surrendered unto Krishna and they get under the divine energy of devotional service. And there's a wonderful verse which states that Bhagavad Gita chapter 7 text 14, Daivihya gunamayi mama maya darateya mam eva ye prapadyante mayam etam tarantite. So that if we surrender to the Lord, then all this maya, this illusion, is actually easily crossed over, where otherwise it's very difficult. So Prabhupada makes this point that about the pantheism is more or less impersonal. We see him everywhere, and everything we see, we know that is, we say that is God. Everything is God. Yes, but he's also a person and he has an abode. He's actually somewhere performing activities. you know? What's interesting is that the path of this impersonalism, if it doesn't become tinged with the devotional aspect, and we don't think about, well, let me serve that God who is everything, then we don't advance very quickly, and it takes a long time. Bahunam janmanam ante, jnanavan mam prapadyate, vasudeva sarvamiti samahatma sudurlabha. That after many, many births, bahunam, bahu means many, bahunam janmanam ante, after many births, janma, right? After many, many births, one surrenders to me, knowing me to be everything. The Vasudev is a name for Krishna, which has more or less two, as far as I've heard, we hear that it means the son of Vasudev. His name is Vasudeva. It means the son of Vasudev. One is Va and one is Va. Vasudev, and one is Vasudeva. Vasudeva is Krishna, but another word for Vasudeva, another meaning of that is all pervasive. He's everywhere. He's everywhere. Why is that? Because he expands himself as Lord Vishnu in the heart, and he resides within every atom. There's a cool part of the Brahma Samhita which states that he's in every atom. Ananta, something like, I forgot it. The thing is about the impersonalist is that it takes a long time to get to that stage. And by the mercy and grace of the devotees, they say, take the direct process immediately. Chant and hear about the personality of Godhead, the supreme absolute truth. Right now. Don't wait. Don't hesitate. Don't fear. Why do they say that? Because Krishna says that in Bhagavad Gita. He says, Sarvadharman parityaja mamekam sharanam braja aham tvam sarva papebhyo mokshayashyami ma shuchaha. Don't worry. Don't hesitate. Don't fear. Make me the goal of your life and serve me at every moment. That's what Krishna is asking from us. And he's not puffed up. He's very merciful. He's very tolerant and he's very humble. He comes and he delivers the personal message of Godhead to us, and he asks us to take it up. And the devotees, they say the same thing. It may not sound exactly like that, but it practically, they say that. They say, here are the words. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. And they say, okay, now's the dance. Nice, okay, keep chanting. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Whoa, nice shoes. Have you seen this book? Check it out. Man, you look so spiritual. Yeah, see? Ancient Sanskrit book translated into English. It's amazing, man. Yeah, keep you free from stress, anxiety, how to get free from suffering. It's really rad. Yeah, man, you're super cool. You should totally take the book. We just beg a donation. People throw in a donation. Would you be willing to give a donation? Take some books with you? Day one, they say, surrender to Krishna. But it comes in disguise. They say, nice smile. Smile says a lot. Smile. You just put the orange in their hand. Just, you said, surrender to Krishna and be happy. But they didn't see that. They just saw a mandarin. So this is the wonderful process of Krishna consciousness. And we're there to help people make the jump. Because if you want to go from pantheism all the way to God consciousness, it's quite a big time, quite a big stretch. Many lifetimes you'll spend. What's amazing about the 12th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, I was thinking about this morning. Krishna says, you should have love for me. Right? And just love me. That's all I want. He says, if you can't do that, practice bhakti yoga and you'll develop the desire to attain me. Isn't that amazing? I'm totally off. My heart is totally bogus. I just want my own pleasure. And I don't care who I have to cut down. But if I practice bhakti yoga, a different desire will take hold of my heart. That desire will be to serve Krishna and his devotees. That desire will be to associate with Krishna in his personal form, here or anywhere, at all times, under all circumstances. Ahaituki apratiyata, everywhere, no matter what. Just for his pleasure. So, how is this possible? He gives that shelter. Because I can't face this storm without him. But as soon as I develop that devotional attitude, surrender. Surrender is a science. There's 6 terms which are to be studied. We have to accept what's favorable, reject what's unfavorable. And Prabhupada gives all that. He says, chant the Lord's holy names. He's been mentioning. This is the fearless method by which every person can become perfect. You just have to chant. It's amazing. This is all that we have to do, especially in this age. And we have the opportunity to take advantage of it. Because Krishna is offering himself very easily by this method. We don't have to go to the secluded place. We don't have to give up family. We don't have to give up eating, sleeping, anything. We don't have to give up hardly. We won't be able to give up such things if we don't have some devotional practice. So that's the first step. Somehow or another, develop an attraction for the Lord. And how do you develop attraction? Is you spend time with him. Best way to spend time is to hear and chant about him and to hear his holy names and to taste food which you offered with love and devotion to Krishna. So this is a great science. Thank you so much for tolerating me, devotees. One time, Prabhupada said, mystic meditation. Hare Krishna mantra is mystic meditation. Isn't that cool? Mystic meditation. Because by this one process, everything will become perfect. So thank you so much, devotees. I took a lot of time. Are there any comments or anything? A few more minutes left. Would you give a reflection, Prabhu? Just some thoughts, you know.
Thank you for the Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Please accept my humble obeisances. Thank you for the nice class. I liked your point when I was relating to that because you said, okay, hand the person an orange, and they just think that you're handing them a piece of fruit, but actually, you're handing them Krishna consciousness. And most people aren't actually in the position to accept the real, like the highest realization, what that is. Even though it's given, like you open up any one of Prabhupada's books, just like a pamphlet, anything, and it's like right there. The first word, Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So we're not actually hiding anything, but there's like unlimited ways that we can enter into spiritual life. Krishna has given so much variety for all kinds of living entities wherever they're at. And this movement is catering towards that. And it's really nice. And then we can be creative and intelligent, and we can provide those facilities for all different living entities, and in that way we can express that we do care. That is an expression of our care, without compromising the message. Because it's so nice, we don't have to compromise, but we can do so many nice variety of so many different nice activities that act as a that transport that message perfectly. And Prabhupada has given that. And so it's very nice, and I appreciated that point. Thank you, Prabhu.
Thank you, Prabhu. Okay. Yes, I like that a lot. That if we can see, if we don't add the devotional aspect, if we don't convince them that, if we don't somehow agitate that devotional attitude within them by our speaking and by our activities, how will they reach the perfection? They'll be stuck in the vague soup of spiritual mumbo jumbos or whatever you want to say, But if whatever we do or whatever we say to them awakens that devotional spark which is in their heart, if we fan that spark, success very quickly too. Very quickly. Thank you so much, devotees. Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, all glorious to the assembled devotees. Shri Krishna Chaitanya.